Hear what they wrote down. Don't be shy. It's not a test. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead in the back. And did you write the same thing after you saw the film?
Yeah, I'm sticking with that because I've been to Harlem several times. I used to go over and sing with a group there. Just enjoy the city itself. I think it feels like home when you're there. You see the power grid, you see the different culture, the different buildings, and things that were going on there. So yeah, I pretty much stick with that same feel that I had.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for sharing.
Great film.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Lady in the back in green. I can't hear you. Sorry. So she said rebirth for African Americans with music and culture. Is that what you wrote before and after? Did anything change? Okay. Yes, in the yellow.
I said it was a beautiful place. I think of like diversity amongst minorities, and then I was just like naming different places like the Harlem Renaissance, jazz, Apollo art. I didn't write like anything afterwards. I was writing during the film, like things that stuck up. Because like last year, I remember people saying that Harlem is no longer black, and then when I was watching the film, I understood why they were saying that because it's like a part of black culture in a way. Because many people brought so many things there, and then when people are coming in making other businesses and homes, it's kind of like they're kicking people that kind of created Harlem in a way. So like with Market 125th, kind of thought of like, what is it, Valley Fair? Because Valley Fair is kind of like the.
What did you say? I didn't hear what you said. You said Mark 125, and then you value. It's kind of like I didn't hear that part.
Valley Fair in North, because it's kind of like
Okay.
the Walmart of North.
Okay.
But it like many people were upset that all the things that they had and the people of the community could go to those places and they no longer have them because when people come in, they start to create something and then they may not even complete it. So they take what the people in the community have, and if they don't complete it, then they have nothing. Looks like it.
Thanks for sharing. Yes, sir.
I did write down a couple of things, but also the last thing I had a cultural center for Afro American culture for lit, art, and music. But actually watching the film, I see a total change of that. And the only reason I bring out my personal experience as far as with African Americans, as far as when you suffering in a different culture, you see things and you express those things. That's how the Black Renaissance actually burst. You seeing somebody on drugs, you're seeing somebody who actually is trying to push their kids through things. You write these literary stories, and you express that from a sense of who you are as far as in your culture. You're trying to express that to the world in a sense of trying to understand that we're the same. That I'm thinking about a long time ago, as far as to try to show that we're as human as white America was. But when I see this, I see more of the up-to-date Harlem as being more commercial. I mean, how can you actually express yourself when you have certain things that's the same in South Carolina? I mean, I can go to South Carolina and say Walmart or Dunkin' Donuts, where back when I was growing up, you wouldn't see a Walmart, or it's almost like similar. Like, I'm not getting nothing new. I'm not getting no stimulation. I guess that's the word would be as far as what I'm seeing is Harlem today. I'm not getting a stimulation where I would get if I come there and I'm seeing something new of expression.
Nice. Thanks for sharing. On the back.
Yeah, I wrote Harlem. I see that red black African American leaders, trendsetters, and I see that associate African American talent across the world. But after I watched this film, I wrote Harlem, a city that used to be.
Harlem, what it used to be. That's what you
A
wrote.
city that used to be.
Okay. A city that used to be.
Yeah.
Okay. I really appreciate you all sharing your thoughts. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Maybe the word you could also use is the soul of the community is then gone after your identity.
That certain identity is gone.
I saw a hand in the back. Yes.
Yeah, I initially wrote about the gentrification, but then after seeing how black businesses are still trying to thrive there, how it should still be encouragement for the residents that live there to stay. But also noting that the value of the dollar is taking more precedence than the community itself. So it's stripping away all the possibility of keeping the community together.
Nice. Anyone else want to share what they wrote? Well, thank you. I'll just say this again, that I shot over from the year 2000, 2010, and it took about 3 years to kind of get the final edit down. I work in the film industry, so I make my living. I work on a TV show. I come back. I work on this. So it took a labor of love. It took time. But as I've shown the piece over the last few years, I'm really honored that I took the time, because the length that it took really showed in the body of the work. And as the time keeps going on, I go, wow, I'm glad I was there. Every time I watch it, I see different things. And primarily, I should say, as we keep moving forward with new presidents, I should say when I shot that piece with Bill Clinton, when he had when he spoke, that was in 2001, pre 9/11. You can't think now you'll never get access to any ex-president that close. That's a gone deal. So I'm glad I was there for then. It was a peaceful time, and no one got hurt. But it was a vocal day. But that's what America's about, expressing your opinions. I wanted to talk about some of the points that I made in the film. I really wanted to strike home the word home, and I think somebody mentioned that. I'm not sure. I think somebody did, about home. Some of us don't have the access to move and pick up and move quite as freely as others do. And I found, and like I said before, I'm not from Harlem, somewhere I've lived for the past 18 years, but I found people, Harlem is as if their baby. They protect it, they carry it on their shoulders. So when I was researching and speaking with people, I wanted to make sure they knew where I was coming from. I always met them face to face, but they wanted to know where I was coming from on the film, and they treated Harlem as if it was theirs. And it was their baby. You're not going to take it. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to make sure it grows up. I'm going to make sure it's healthy. It's ours. And I found I hadn't seen that anywhere else where I'd lived. And they're very protective of where you have to envision people had been there generations, your grandmother, and your grandfather, your neighbors, and you can't pick up and move quite freely as maybe somebody younger who has more means. And so I wanted to explore what home is and what community means and why people are so passionate, as you saw in the town hall meeting. I think it's also important to, when we're moving these days, I think, as I'm going to go back to access, to move and pick up and move, I think it's important to understand where you live, because there's certain traditions or certain nuances that different neighborhoods have, and it's important to know when you move in that certain, maybe Sundays, maybe there's drummers, maybe there's certain aspects that have been going on for decades that you need to be aware of or learn about when you're moving and you're treading lightly in communities. It's important also to think about how you live in a community. Some people just pay the rent, get outside the door, don't speak to anyone. Do you speak to your neighbors? Are you invested? Do you care? Are you renting? Do you want to buy? How do you treat your neighborhood? Are you invested? And I think it's important as some of you all are students, you're moving into apartments, you may graduate, you're thinking about where you're living, but people take on how you treat your neighborhood and how you want to participate and how you want to be an active member. I think it's important to think about, are you invested? Do you care? Maybe you don't. Maybe you're just about, this is close to my work, I come in and out, I don't care about my neighbors. Harlem is a place that we look after each other. If you want somebody to look out after you, you need to look out after them, you need to speak. There's certain traditions that people have in their neighborhoods, and I think we've gotten away from that. I'm not sure what happened, but there's a tradition that came up on basics, which is greetings, which I know, greetings go a long way. Greetings show a character who you are. but those greetings show how much you care about others, and those little nuances really show your character and how you're participating in a neighborhood. I don't want to sit here and talk, but I want to kind of wrap this about Newark. I'm sure this film brought you right back to home and where you all have lived. Some of you probably longtime members. So I wanted to hear your statements about what did the film bring up to you in your thoughts as you were watching the film about where you live, what's going on in your communities. Yes, sir.
Same as the lady right here was saying, as far as about Valley Fair. I'm close to 50. I'm a couple of months from 50. Newark has always been my home. So, we get this, changing. And I won't lie, I grew up far as during the riots. I was actually born in a riot. And, it was depressing, but as you said before, you had people that talked to each other. I mean, Mr. Stevenson would actually watch other people's kids. And if Lewis got in trouble, his mother knew when she got home from work. Then when we got away from that, and what I see now in Newark, I see a lot of multicultural that I didn't actually see before. I mean, not to be funny, you would see a few whites that actually work downtown. You would see majority of black. You never went too out in the Ironbound section, Portuguese, but you had Puerto Ricans. And that was the only ethnic groups you actually knew. But as far as seeing Indians, Pakistanians, people from Dominican Republic, all these countries that's coming in, right now is almost like a wow. I didn't know, and then all you see things popping up. And when I see popping up, you got a Starbucks in Newark. I would never in my life would think Starbucks would be in Newark, even though it used to be a chock full of nuts right on Broad and Market. That's how old not no GameStop, Woolworth, Bambergers, the Haynes building. I actually seen them things actually generating economy until everybody started moving out. And people live in abandoned buildings. Almost same thing as New York. I would say New York, because even in the Bronx, where owners just left their buildings and let them deteriorate. I mean, same thing in Newark. As far as over here in North Newark and up around more or less everywhere, but Central Avenue, all around there. Houses, abandoned buildings. You will go down and like, okay, abandoned building, wouldn't even care about it. But when I see the building of it, I'm gonna repeat what I said before. I do see a corporate sanitization coming in too.
I thought it was important when you spoke about you said commercialism. One thing I was when I watched it again, I see Takima say, 125th Street was we got dressed up on Sundays. We walked down, and the pride that she talks about on those days in 125th. And and if you talk now, I love 125th because you always run into people. Obviously, the stores. I understand. People used to come to 125th for something. Still, the vendors are there, but I don't. In the same stores there's a reason why you went to 125th. I don't need to go to 125th to go to Old Navy. I can go do that anywhere else. But there's, I think that's a sentiment around the U.S. about the commercial debt, the dollar, big business. And I think a woman spoke earlier about we're putting your money where you got to back your dollar. Those businesses are only going to stay if you support them. There are new black businesses that are popping up, and there's some that have left. But I think we always forget the economic power that we have in our pockets. We shop all day. But if you ask where we shop, no one wants to really admit where we put our dollars.